Hello, welcome back to pattern making with Let Morris. We're going to be continuing with making the pattern for this dress. We're going to be doing the back now, and here we have the draft of the back here. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that off on another sheet of paper. I've already marked the detail, the styling of the back neck. I've also cut off, tapered the hem. So we're just going to mark off the new lines that we want. So I've got it on another sheet of paper here. There we go. I've marked on new neckline. I've tapered it in. And now what we've got to do is this dart that we've got here, I'm just going to make it a bit narrower. It's 1.5 inches. So I'm going to take it to 1 inch. You only need 1 inch there, or 1.25 inches. So I'm going to take off 1/2 inch from the at the waist. I'm going to take 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take 1/4 out of there and 1/4 out the center at the back of the waist. So that's 1/2 inch. So this dart now remains 1 inch. So that's plenty for the dart at the back. So all I'm going to do is just make that dart smaller. So I need 1/2 inch from the center there, and I put a new mark, and 1/2 inch from there to there, and then we reshape the darts into the new mark that we have. So this is making the dart narrower, smaller in the back. So it's only 1 inch now. So I'm going to just reshape it. So that's what I'm doing. Reshape the dart so I can rub out those outer lines, because they're not, we don't need those outer lines now. So I'm just going to erase them, and we only need the new ones that I've just drawn on, because I've reduced the dart now. So we just reshape them in. So that's the new dart. So what I'm going to do, because I've reduced it at the waist there, I'm going to just reshape that from the underarm into that shape, taking it round, and then I'm going to take it out just above near the top hip, so we get a nice smooth running line. And I'm going to do the same thing at the center back. Now I'm going to take it about across the back, wherever the cross back is, roughly about there, and I'm going to take that line so we get a nice smooth line running from there into that dart, and then I'm taking it down just past the hips as well onto there. So now it's slightly shaped. So I'm just going to rub out those lines so that we don't have that, so you can see the definition. So we shape the waist in a bit, shape it in a bit there at the back, center back, and we've narrowed the dart. So I've done that. So once you've done that, I am just going to make the shape for the pleat at the back, because on this dress I've put an open knife pleat. So I'm going to make that 1.5 inches. So you measure out where, this is where I want it, so I've got a mark there. It depends on you how high you want that pleat to be. So I'm just going to come out 1.5 inches for that pleat, and I draw a line down, and from that point where I've marked it, I'm going to just slant it a bit so it looks like that, and then from there I'm going to add my seam allowance on all the way up to the top. So we only need 1 centimeter on there. So you just follow the shape round, centimeter, all the way around to your new shaping at the waist, and then out again, back down to your centimeter where the pleat is. And once you've got that, I'm just going to add 1 centimeter from that point there along there. So centimeter seam, and it comes along there. So we're going to now add your seam allowance at the hem, which is 1 centimeter, which I've already got on there actually. So we just draw 1 centimeter on there, And that is your hem. You can allow more if you want at the hem. And then we just add 1/4 of an inch around the neckline and 1 centimeter on the shoulders to match the other shoulders. And these shoulder measurements you have to check to make sure they fit the front. And we got 1 centimeter around the armhole. Never cut it out until you check to make sure they fit, because you have to join them together when you cut them out. And don't forget, you've got to put your grain line on, which is parallel to this center, your center back that you've got here. So I'm just going to draw that on there so we can know that is our grain line along there. So that is your grain line all the way through. And then along the side, you're going to add your centimeter, because that's all we need on the side to join the side, see. And then before you cut out, we're going to check, well, you must check to make sure that your side seam matches on the front as it does on the back. So before you cut out anything, you check. So now this is your back, and we're going to cut 2 of those. Okay, so that is your back. So we then check to see that shoulders match. That's your shoulder on the front. You check it to make sure it match, and it's exactly matching, because you're going to join excuse me. And you check that your sides are matching, and you're going to put a notch there where that one comes along there, so it's like a balance mark. And then you're going to make sure that that fits onto your hem, like your thing like that, the side, so that they match. Very important. They don't match, you have to make sure that they match. So that's a balance mark, that's a balance mark. And these we're going to just measure down about 3/4 of an inch, and you put a little mark, so that's where your dart hole is going to be. But when you machine whatever amount you put down. If it's 1/2 inch, 5/8, you go up further. And the same thing on this one amount, so that will be your dart point. And then you put in a center one, and then when you fold it, you know, you just stitch 1/2 inch on the fold for your darts. So that is your back. And you just, all we do is cut out the back neck right along, so you can make your back neck facing. I'm just going to show you how you do the back neck facing, and then we can go on in the next stage to show you how we create this wonderful shaped sleeve. So I'll just cut out that bit there and show you how we do the back neck. So once again, I'll use that piece. Any paper that you've got left over, you can make your facing from that. So I'll just cut down this back, center back, along the back here, and we're going to go up this section here where we slanted it. That's to allow for the pleats, and then you come down there. And so we need a notch at this position here where the pleat is, so we're going to put a notch there as well. So once we've got that, we then make our back neck facing, and you just place that section on top of the new sheet of paper, and all you do is mark around the neck section, a bit down the back, a bit along the shoulders, not all the way along. And then you can take your pattern piece away. Don't forget you've got your seam allowance already on, so you just mark it. You've got your seam allowance on the shoulder, and you've got 1/4 around the neckline. And all you do is just make your facing about 2 inches or 1.5 inches width from the finish mark. And then you just take that all the way around like that, like that, like that. So that is your facing. And then your grain line would be parallel to your center back, and you mark it in. That's your grain line. And then you just connect up your lines like that. That's your back neck facing, back neck facing, and you're going to cut 2 of those plus fuse. So that is the back. And then you do exactly the same thing for the front. The only thing is that you're going to do the front bit on the fold, because you only want one piece. So I normally fold my paper, have a fold edge, and I get my fronts and I place that on the fold on the edge of my paper, and I'll get my side bits and I place it on the seam to seam like that, right there. Can you see that? That's going right over. That seam is touching that seam there. Make sure that's secured on your paper on the fold edge. And that seam is lapped over. So you get your neck shape in. And you just mark around the neck shape along the shoulders like that. And then you can put those away. And then with your back, I'm just going to cut that bit out. So we need to make sure that they match. Cut along there. Cut along your back neck area here. And we're going to come down the center back, which is there. And then you take that away and then you place that on the shoulders to shoulders and make sure that they match. Once that's matching, you mark it, and then you can take your front neck the same distance all the way around. Shape it. If you can't shape it round nicely, you use your curve. And then that is your back neck. That is your front neck, sorry. So it's front neck facing, and you're going to cut one of those plus the fuse. Fusing to hold it, to make it firm, nice and firm. So those are your pieces, and that completes your front and your back of the dress. And then you've checked, you can double check to make sure that your seams are matching, your panels are matching, your shoulders are matching, because they're important. Because when you cut out and you machine, you don't want one to be longer than the other, especially the side seam, shoulder seam, anything that goes together, they must match. And then we put a grain line in the center, that's of your facing. So there we go. Those are the pattern pieces for this dress, front and back. We're now going to create the sleeve, and I will be back. So continue to watch and you'll see the end results. Bye.